Hi, this is Curtis Leverton from VintCo, and today I'm going to discuss modern connecting rod bearings compared to the designs from the 70s. So first we'll start off with the wrist pin bearings right here. And all wrist pin bearings are actually ID guided, which means that the wrist pin rubs up or slides against the inside diameter of the bearing. It's not on the outside, on the connecting rod surface inside of here. This is not important in terms of this portion of the bearing connecting or touching the connecting rod. So the biggest design change has been this design right here, where this is called a shoulderless design. There's no shoulder through here. And this bearing separator that keeps the needle rollers apart from each other, when they would fail, they would typically break right here in this sharp edged corner. Somewhere around the late 80s, early 90s, the connecting rod wrist pin bearing designs change, and they have these shoulders that go inside. And you can again see here, the shoulders goes much further in and leaves a much stronger section through here. So those are the fundamental design change on a wrist pin bearing from something in the 70s. In terms of the crank pin bearing designs, crank pin bearings are OD guided, which means that the outside diameter is what touches or slides across the inside diameter of the connecting rod. Also, the connecting rods from the 70s typically had, and today, have silver coating on the bearing, and this is actually used as a sacrificial lubricant in case the bearing overheats. The silver melts and will act as a lubricant so that the bearing doesn't seize up in the rod. Obviously here we have the modern design and the old design, and this is called a Sigma profile cage. And this style of a cage is called Sigma because of being similar to the Sigma symbol, Greek symbol. I prefer to call these scalloped cage because of the scallop going through here. This is the flat design cage, and these came out in about the early 90s is when these became popular. The advantage to this style of cage, one is there's more rollers. Here we have two bearings, and if you look, you can actually see there are more rollers in this bearing than there are in this, so it has a higher load capacity. Also, the stress of the cage is displaced over the whole surface area as opposed to just on the corners, and so there's reduced stress on the cage while it's operating. And then finally, this is a little harder to describe, but the needle rollers in this design are really being supported on the inside of the bearing like this. So it's a little easier to skew as opposed to this bearing design, which the roller supports are out here, and so it creates better stability of the bearing in the while it's operating the connecting rod. So there you go. Those are the modern updates to connecting rod bearings.